Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This is the Modernizing Council and Courtroom webinar. My name is Glenn Booth. I'm the Ford AV Division Manager here in our Denver office, and we're really thrilled to be partnered with Televic today for this webinar. We know there's many integrated AV components for a successful and transparent public meeting. You know, it can be the public displays, the confidence monitors, the audio, that's including wireless mics for the public, multiple cameras, streaming, broadcasting, on and on, even security systems. Today, however, we're going to focus on one of the most important parts, the audio, the workflow, and even the voting in council chambers and courtrooms. Core systems that impact how clearly meetings are heard, how efficiently they run, and how decisions are documented. As you may know, Televic is a global leader in meeting technology. They provide secure, intuitive solutions designed to improve efficiency, participation, and transparency in the public sector. A couple quick notes before we get going here. Our contact information is at the bottom there, phone number and email. Reach out for any reason whatsoever. And for the webinar, please use the chat button there for questions you have. We'll answer them near the end of the webinar. And stay close with us because at the end, we'll give away a $100 gift card compliments of Televic. All right, just a little bit about Ford. We're an AV commercial technology contractor specializing in conferencing systems, audio, video, streaming, broadcast, lighting, network, and even security. That includes video surveillance plus access control. We're one of the top leading integrators in the country for Microsoft Teams rooms conferencing. Our customers include pretty much everybody: municipalities, state, local government, education, houses of worship, and many others around the country. And we've been in business for over 53 years now. We do about 700 plus projects each year, more than 600 employees, and I think we're at now 21 locations nationwide to serve you. Our headquarters are based in Oklahoma City. One thing I want to just touch on here real shortly is our procurement. So Ford is a participant in several cooperative purchasing contracts that does include Omnia partners, but others as well: UT Alliance, TIPS, NASPO, and even Buyboard. It makes it much easier for agencies to purchase technology solutions at very competitive pricing and without having to go through the whole hassle and time crunch of doing an RFP process. On the left, you'll see a couple projects that we've done. We've designed these, installed, and continue to support. The top image is the Louisiana State Legislature, and the bottom one is the, let's see, City of Inglewood here in Denver. All right, our presenters today, Marcus Subcheck. He'll be joining us from technology partner Televic. Marcus is a technology sales consultant. He specializes every single day. What he does is he helps council chambers and government meeting solutions, or people just get better sound, better audio, better workflow, better voting. He tries to improve their collaboration, accessibility, and the whole overall meeting experience. That's what we're talking about here. And then also joining us will be Alex Rizzo. Alex is Televic's channel manager. He works closely with partners like Ford AV to deliver council chamber and public meeting technology. His focus is on best practices and successful project implementation. Want to welcome Marcus and Alex. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Glenn, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And I want to reiterate what Glenn had mentioned about the chat feature. Not only lay your questions there, but our goal today is to cover a few common pain points that we see in these verticals. And if anything specifically is not mentioned that you experience, please drop that in the chat, and we'd love to address it towards the end of our call. So our goal today is to show how we can improve speech intelligibility in your council chambers and in your courts. We'll also show how Televic can improve workflows, whether that's control, voting, agenda management, or integrating with new and existing technologies. The platform is also built to be hybrid ready and completely agnostic, which means that we can continue using the systems you already know, and Televic builds around that, and we call Televic's platform is built on what we call a discussion microphone. So we know the issue, and the issue is that we can't hear. Meeting fatigue is real in these environments, and if you cannot hear clearly, you cannot be a participant in your meeting. At Televic, we believe a meeting space is not a place to create fatigue. It should be a place where you can not only hear but be heard, both in the room and remotely. So if you're not familiar with Televic, this is our resume. We're the preferred conferencing solution in mission critical environments around the globe. We're currently celebrating our 80th year, and our systems are used by the United Nations, the European Union, World Health Organization, NATO, and many more. We are manufactured both in Belgium and Bulgaria, making us a TAA compliant solution, and we are focused on what we're talking about today. So our goal is simple, and that's to simplify your meeting space so users can hear and be heard. So we excel in those spaces, but no one on this call is joining us from NATO. So you are small, large cities, local governments, and state and local courts. Over the last 4 to 5 years, Televic has shifted our focus into these less formal environments. Council chambers and courtrooms are not the same as NATO, but there are similarities, and we're going to dive into those today. The two environments we will focus on, as Glenn mentioned, is council chambers and courtrooms. We'll review pain points in each space, then provide 3 solutions designed to fit your feature set, budget, or help fill a gap in your workflow. We'll also show a little magic from behind the curtain with our Experience Center that's joining us from DC. Televic's discussion microphone is built for these environments, but you may be asking yourself, what is a discussion microphone? It's not a gooseneck, so we see it and that's what we think, but a discussion microphone is an all-in-one audio solution that provides what we call at-seat audio. That means every user has direct participation in the meeting through their own microphone while also getting the speech reinforcement through their built-in speaker. So now the members of your dais, bench, or panel are not relying on the room to carry the conversation. They can clearly hear each other, hear public participants, and be heard themselves, whether someone is across the room or joining remotely. Our solution also includes a visual indicator that can change colors based on the microphone status, giving you a clear indication of who is speaking and who is next in line. This can work in tandem with other audio solutions that you have in the space as well. If you have ceiling speakers for the public or a jury, we can tie into that, and we can also be a standalone system to be a complete solution for your space. So the number one issue we hear in council chambers is inconsistent intelligibility. It's not just people having trouble hearing, it's the full meeting experience. Council members missing comments, citizens in the back struggling to follow along, and remote participants losing clarity. When this happens, participation suffers. From there, the next challenge is workflow. These meetings are procedural and time sensitive, but agenda management, voting, timing, and recording are often spread across multiple platforms, and that creates extra work for the person managing the meeting and can slow down a process that needs to be clear, efficient, and easy to follow. And I want to be clear, this does not mean everything you have today is completely broken. Some of you may already have a platform or a workflow that you like, and Televic welcomes that with open arms. Our goal is to simplify what is already working and fill the gaps where is needed. The goal to create a better experience for your dais, staff, public, and your public. So how can we do that? So Televic offers many different solutions, but each system can be anchored to one of 3 essential categories. First, we have what we would classify as essential. With essential, we're entering a world of clearer audio. With expandable features like electronic voting, this solution is designed to reduce meeting fatigue while still being mindful of a budget. With Plus, we begin to truly customize the solution. This is where we can look to both wired and wireless options, build around the needs of your space, and add more tailored features where they make sense for you. With a premium solution, we introduced larger screens, e-ink nameplates, RFID badge readers, and advanced user features. This is especially useful in spaces that support multiple meeting styles. For example, a council chamber can sit down, plug in their badge, and the system automatically assigns that seat to them, updating the seat permission, changing the nameplate, and from there, we can continue adding more features all the way down to an electronic request for a cup of coffee. So, and we know your space may not fit perfectly into these three categories, and that's where Ford AV and Televic can work together to provide budgetary pricing and build the right mix of features that you actually need. So next, what we're going to do is dive into our Experience Center and have you guys experience a couple of our products. Marcus, take it away.
Thank you, Alex. As was mentioned earlier, my name is Marcus Subcheck. I am a technical sales consultant with Televic, and today we are joined as well with our Experience Center in Washington, D.C. by my colleague and fellow technical sales consultant, Justin. And wanted to loop in this just to show off some of the technology, what its capabilities are, and also just so you could hear what the room sounds like. So Justin, say hello to us.
Hey everybody, sunny day here in Beltsville, Maryland. This is our US HQ. It's where all of our orders also come in and out of. So when you're interacting with Ford AV and Televic for any potential projects in the future, just remember that everything's coming from the US. None of it's coming from overseas. It should be at your door or at your council chambers, courtrooms relatively quickly.
And just to kind of give a little background on what a technical sales consultant means when it comes to Televic, we are the people that design all the bills and materials, all the systems that Televic provides. So you work with us as well as channel managers to find exactly the solution that meets the needs as you have them. And that way you get a hardware solution that either works and fills the needs for today, as well as maybe having an on-road or a roadmap for future expansion. So the table that Justin is sitting at right now is our premium or our premier line. The way that this experience center is kind of broken up is into that 3-category solution. So I'm actually going to jump over to our essential stations. So Justin can just slide on over 3 feet to his right. And this is a product line that we call Discerno. It's the essential line because it is exactly what Alex described. It is that built-in speaker, microphone, headphone jack, and all-inclusive audio experience. But where Televic kind of brings in that extra leg up is with its expandable feature sets. What I mean by that is this device itself is a chairman or a delegate or a VIP user. It is one SKU, one model that can be assigned different roles and feature sets. So if your city council is doing a voting of some sort, but right now you're just doing raised hands or you're doing verbal voting, and you want to take it to that next step to make it electronic, this is a good first step. Justin, if you could go ahead and press that play button on that device. From here, we're recalling a vote and saying, here's our yes, no, and abstain. And it's based off of a template that you brought in ahead of time. Each user has those buttons light up, and each user can vote as long as they've been given that permission to vote. So you can have 9 members on a dais with voting capabilities, and the podium does not. Now, whenever the vote is concluded, this device that we're looking at is a chairperson. They can press the stop button to end that vote, and then press the stop button again to clear that vote and move on. At any point, they can press that play, start a vote, and move forward. You'll also see a couple of LEDs on there for other devices or other feature sets. That is a priority and a next in line button. The Televic systems have different ways to interact with audio, one of them being request to speak. So if that is the methodology that your council utilizes, the chairperson can control that request to speak list from their device, or it can be controlled from a software interface that an operator or a clerk might be in control of. Additionally, this device, like I said, it's one SKU, so a chairperson can become a delegate. Instead of changing hardware around, you're just deciding which device has permission. So I'm going to make this device a delegate, and you see those LEDs go away. They no longer have the ability to start a vote. I'll make that person a chairperson once again. Those LEDs come back. So if you're using the same technology, but different groups are meeting in this space, they might have different rule sets. You can make those configurations on the fly to meet the needs of the specific groups. Now, speaking of controlling the system from a software, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The Discerno system has a browser-based interface that allows someone to come in and control the meeting as it's going on. So this can be a layout of any image that makes sense for you. Put little icons to represent the microphones in the space, and I'm able to turn on and off microphones from this interface. Additionally, I can start the meeting recording and have audio recorded for this meeting that is then recorded to the Televic system directly. And I can also start voting processes. Let's have a vote on a new parking lot outside of City Hall. I've decided that it's going to be a yes, no, and abstain. I can go up to 5 buttons of voting for this system, make it hidden or make it a public vote, depending on how much we want the audience or the public to see. I start voting, and now all of our devices have their voting icons. Once Justin pushes in a button, we can see the dotted lines around the users. Those are the people that have voted. Because this is a hidden ballot, we don't see their results in real time, but that is an option that we can provide as well. Televic is a lot about giving a lot of options and letting you choose exactly how you want the system to interact. Now, moving on from the essential line, we go up to our plus, which is our flex system. So the flex microphones, you can see aesthetically look very similar, yet instead of LED lights, they have a 5-inch touchscreen. And where you get the plus, or where the plus comes in, is that there's more expandability on the feature sets. RFID cards, interpretation, dual delegate. These are all features that can be added to the individual microphones, in addition to wireless capabilities. You can see that the microphones on the left, that is a wired device that might be for an integrated dais, while the one on the right is wireless. It aesthetically looks exactly the same, and feature-wise on the device itself is exactly the same. But instead, we have batteries that can support 2 batteries at one time for 24 hours of battery life. This can be used wholly independent as a standalone system where everything's wireless, or something that's unique to Televic is that we can actually combine wired and wireless together in one system. So say you have a dais, and then you have some tables that come in, and you have some staff meetings that you want just some wireless microphones on those tables, or you have a podium that isn't really connected to any conduit, so you can't run cables to it. Well, we can put a wireless device there, and that device would be able to showcase the speaking timer as people are, as the public is addressing the council. And then you can move it to different locations or strike it if that podium or those positions are no longer needed. Now, back to our another option for flex devices, and here's just a close-up of that device with the screen going being live. These are voting capable devices, so just showing what that looks like on a Flex unit, the voting buttons appear. And you can also see there is a countdown bar as this vote is timed. So each delegate at the table can see exactly how long they have to vote. They can choose which option they want. That screen has a haptic feedback, so you do get feedback once you push that screen button. Now, going to the overall table, this is now our premium line. The two devices that I'd like to really showcase on this table are our multimedia terminal and our e-ink nameplate. So our multimedia terminal, this is the next step up. It is a all-in-one device where we can have content as a personalized confidence monitor. We can feed in different feeds of content. We can make that content go full screen, and we can also view and manage a request to speak list or a active speaker list while the meeting is going on. At any point, this device, when assigned as a chairperson, can turn off other people's microphones, turn on and activate people from a request list to become live. Additionally, this device has capabilities for voting as well as viewing PDF documents. So if you have a PDF agenda that you want to upload onto the system, each user can view that PDF on their own time by opening it up on this device. And you'll see on the left is our e-ink nameplate. That is a device that can work with almost any of our systems and even work as a standalone unit as well. So imagine that you have your dais chamber, your council chamber. You're using the same technology for the council as well as the transit authority and the school board. Well, we can take our systems and create different templates and groups for each of those meetings. And with those templates, we can have different participants. And every time a meeting starts, those nameplates can adjust and change to who's actively in that meeting. So let's say Amanda Cook is not a part of this city council. She either retired or she's no longer a part of the meeting, and instead Julie took her place. By simply changing who's associated with that microphone, we can have the nameplate switch accordingly. So if you have your city council on a Monday and your school board on a Tuesday, just simply starting the meeting allows the nameplates to automatically change and adjust. These come in single-sided and double-sided, up to 3 lines of text, black on white and white on black. And we're able to essentially design how the system can look, or how the nameplate can look. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on is how the Televic systems can interact with an overall AV system, because Televic, the vast majority of the time, is not the only technology in the space. And especially when we're talking about recording and streaming and broadcasting out to YouTube, Facebook, just the public in general, we'll interact with systems such as cameras. So Justin, I'm going to go back to the Discerno table. If you could just take a walk over there. And what our systems are able to do, we have an open API, and you can make the systems, command the systems to command other parts of the AV design or the overall AV system. I'm going to put our Discerno system in an automated camera switching. So that means that whenever Justin turns on one of our microphones, the camera should automatically switch without any interfacing on my part. This is something that we're using in this space. We're using an Automate VX system, but we can use a variety of third-party microphone systems or third-party camera systems to interface with our microphones. Thank you, Justin. I'm going to take away the automated cameras. Looking great, Justin. Now, going back to our CoCon, I believe that I think that's about all I have to say. So back to you, Alex.
Awesome. Awesome. No, thank you, Justin and Marcus. That was really cool to see the camera tracking and how we can integrate with that. So it's one thing our Experience Center does really well is integrate with third-party technologies. And we have some great partners in the industry like QSys and Crestron. But send us your list, who it is you want to work with, and we'll let you know how that is. But we are an open API, so we're open to these conversations and ready to integrate with the solutions that you have in your space. So another thing is I want to reiterate the nameplate. And as you saw, Marcus, he was able to update that name quickly. And many of our customers love this feature, mainly because their space is not only a council chamber, it's also used for a water authority, a boardroom, or other public meetings in that space. So with our system, you can use a simple directory and tie that to a template. So at the click of one button, your room is ready for that specific meeting style. No more manually adjusting the permissions, sliding names in and out for every meeting. You're just ready to go with that easy one button control. So following this webinar, Ford AV will also be sending out some additional literature on how Televic is supporting council chambers, and you guys will have all that to be able to ask even more questions. So want to thank you as well for the participation as we continue forward. Keep your questions coming. We'll address all of them. So now let's look into courtrooms. The challenges here are similar to council chambers, but the stakes, I would say, are even higher. Every word in a courtroom matters, and if something is not clearly heard or properly recorded, it can affect the entire proceeding. We consistently hear concerns about speech intelligibility, reliable recording, and audio delays, especially when systems are ultimately stitched together. There's also growing pressure around security, hybrid participation, camera tracking, ADA compliance, and all of these pieces need to work together seamlessly in a courtroom environment. So, and just like council chambers, many of these pieces may already exist today and may even work well on their own. The opportunity is bringing everything together. Instead of managing multiple systems with Televic, you have a single unified platform that supports clarity, accuracy, and control across your entire courtroom. So now for courtrooms, we frame the solutions a bit differently. At the foundation is what we call plug and play. This is simple, one-time deployment, and immediately improves that audio clarity. It connects directly into Teams and Zoom and can even interface now with Logitech Rally products. So no complex solution, just a single system that's ready out of the box for your court proceeding. So next, we have integrated. This is where we build on what you already have. We improve your consistency and bring the courtroom into a more unified experience. And then lastly is wireless. Pretty self-explanatory. This makes sense in a lot of historic spaces. This is where you need to preserve the room while still delivering a clean, hybrid-ready experience with secure audio, clear attribution, and seamless recording and streaming. So it's not only about choosing a tier, it's about matching the right solution to the courtroom, the workflow, and the constraints of your space. So we're going to dive right back into the Experience Center and show you some updated microphone layouts that we can do to support your court. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. So when it comes to courts, we're going to go back to what we call our essential line. This is the typical system that we use for courts because it meets a price point, most of all. It also allows for granular audio in a variety of ways. So we're able to essentially make the microphones where each microphone is going down a independent pathway for individualized recording for a courtroom. This comes out USB from our system. Additionally, we have a second USB that can connect to a Teams or a Zoom call for back and forth discussion. But most importantly, when it comes to courts, is that courtrooms, the majority of the time, need all microphones live and need to not ever touch a button. They don't ever want to be able to mute their feed so that everything gets recorded. And that's where our systems come in with a feature that we call hands-free mode. What hands-free mode is essentially an ability to open up a large number of microphones at one time, and they are always listening, trying to use an auto gain sharing algorithm to move those virtual faders. So right now, this system is in hands-free mode. Justin, if you could just do a little demonstration, walk around, you'll see as Justin walks and talks, the microphones will hear him, they'll light up, and he won't have to actually touch the technology at all.
Yep. So I'm going to start over here on this side of the table. As I move, you're going to see the LED indicators start to flash on the microphones that I'm accessing, the one that I'm closest to, the one that it's receiving the most quality audio. I start to move in, move out. Whichever microphone is the clearest is the one you're hearing me from.
And that's exactly what courtrooms need is we need the judge, the witness, prosecution, defense, and sometimes the jury to have a microphone of their own, and they need to not touch the technology, and they need to have each microphone individually recorded. That's something that we're able to provide. And typically in courts, we also interface with third-party DSPs like a Biamp or a QSys, and we are agnostic when it comes to interfacing with those third-party type of system DSPs and designs. We can provide the audio in any way that is needed for the specific space. Back to you, Alex.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so courts can be complex, but the audio ultimately doesn't have to be. We give you the pathways, and ultimately in that hands-free mode, the really cool thing is we're not deactivating that speaker when the microphone activates. So you are still able to participate and listen in that meeting even when your microphone is active. So just know that that is there, and we'd love for you to experience that. Reach out to your forward representative, and we'll get you an in-person demo scheduled. So our goal is simple. We need to help every person in the room hear and be heard and be clearly recorded. And as Justin showed, users don't have to press that button to participate in the conversation. The system provides that full mix-minus experience out of the box with no complicated routing or custom programming required. It's also important to note that this is not a voice-activated mode, so there's no noise gate threshold deciding when the microphone turns on. The audio is always available, which helps eliminate missed comments, delayed pickup, and uncertainty around participation. So when it comes to recording, you have options. You can record directly through our system, or you can continue using a recording platform your team already knows. So either way, Televic provides the clear, reliable audio that makes the record stronger. Just like the council chambers, Televic also has specific courtroom literature, and Ford AV will send this out immediately following this webinar. So Televic gives both the customer and Ford AV multiple support paths through the entire process. Our support team is based in the US and is ready to assist across every single time zone. We also offer in-person and remote commissioning, so you're not left to figure out the system on your own. You have direct access to Televic as the manufacturer, helping your team understand the system, use it properly, and get the most value out of your specific setup. So where do we start? What's the next step? Reach out to your forward representative. They will connect you directly with us, and we will help you design the right solution for your space. From there, Televic can engineer and help maximize your functionality, work within your budget, and make sure your system supports the way your team actually meets. And if you want to see it in action, Ford AV and Televic can work together to get equipment in your meeting space so that you can experience the solution firsthand. In short, you don't have to solve this all on your own. Call Ford AV, and together we can help design the right system, support the installation, commission the solution, train your team, and continue supporting.
Can you use a mix of the microphones, like have the essential mic for the podium or the public and a premier mic for council members? And absolutely. So the essential line mostly is on its own island, so it keeps itself, but whenever you have a multimedia terminal, you can mix that with wireless devices, and you can mix that with audio-only devices as well. It's very common for our designs to include, even just one multimedia terminal for the chairperson, so that they can see a visual of the request to speak list and manage that, and then everybody else in the room gets a audio voting device. And then the podium gets an audio device without voting capabilities. This is where Televic can mix and match designs, and where really the technical sales consultant that you're assigned with would work directly with you to see exactly what feature sets and capabilities are needed per position. Does the Televic system connect to any legislative software like Granicus or Civic Plus? As of today, there's no native connection with Granicus or Civic Plus. There are some with other platforms, but the reality is that Televic has an open API, and that includes being able to just use our devices as buttons for a third-party voting software. So our API can command the buttons to come up, and then buttons are pressed, sends other commands and information out of the Televic system. That is something that we are capable of doing, and discussions can happen whenever we're designing a system on what exactly is needed.
Marcus, I just sorry to interrupt you there. There's a similar question in the chat about integrating with digital signage, voting systems, Microsoft Teams. It's the same kind of thing, I think. I just want to make sure you saw that Crestron, QSys, and other third-party applications.
Absolutely. So we have modules on the Crestron and QSys marketplace for our API. So that is something that we can integrate with. When it comes to control systems, DSPs, camera systems, we're happy to work with most anything. One thing that I realized, thank you, Evan Roth, for pointing out something that I bypassed during my demonstration, was what does the output for the voting look like? And that the Televic systems have the capability to create custom displays for the audience. And that audience could be in the room, could also be members that are remote on a call. So I'll go ahead and share my screen once again. And this is what that signage could look like. Right now, we are seeing a meeting in place. We're at the top of the agenda. You see the full agenda listed out, and then whenever people turn their microphones on, you can see the active speaker and the countdown timer. Every square and place of this signage is pieces of data that I chose to put there. So this is a customizable signage layout. You can choose the font, the color, the background, and what information is actually displayed. What's interesting and neat about our signage is that we create what we call events in the Televic system. So in the event that we're discussing a specific item, this is what's going to be displayed. In the event that a vote takes place, well, the signage will automatically switch over, and when a vote starts, you can see a different set of information. We can choose to have the votes come in and display in real time. And then after the voting is done, we can stop it and it can show a different layout of voting results. This all is unmanaged. You set it up beforehand and then it happens automatically during your meeting. Now let's see. The nameplates, can they be surface mounted on the front of a dais? This is interesting because our nameplates come only in tabletop. Now, what we've actually done with Ford AV on projects, I believe for Boulder, Colorado, is we had our surface mounted nameplates, and Ford outfit a very sleek mount that they sat on in front of the dais so that it could look, it could sit in front of the dais out of sight lines and still look sleek and, almost flush with the front of the dais. It is something that Ford and we have done together on at least one design. I'm pretty sure it's been multiple than that. And let's see, did I miss any?
Marcus, would you mind going to the chat? There's a bunch of questions there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. There's the first one on ADA requirements.
So how does it meet ADA accessibility requirements? So that's an interesting question. So all of our microphones have built-in headphones. So that is one way that we can meet some ADA requirements. If you're hard of hearing, you have a headphone and volume control on the device itself. We also have other technologies for assisted listening, whether that be IR or DECT frequencies that can be used as distribution devices for your meetings. As far as captioning, and that is something that we can actually output our audio individually on an individual microphone basis for third-party captioning devices. Televic doesn't have any captioning built in natively, but we're able to distribute the audio in any custom way that might be needed for that third-party device. Is the platform open? Yes, it is an open. We have an open API, as I said before. So really, I think Alex also said the same thing, where regardless of what your virtual platform is or the other technology in your space, we can play nice with it. We can interface using our APIs, as well as our APIs through our control systems and DSPs. So I see the question about technology changes quickly. How can you protect your investment so a council chamber installed today can be expanded and upgraded over the next 10 to 15 years without replacing the entire system? This is something I mentioned in passing earlier, and that is that the Televic systems are designed with the intent to have a runway for expansion. Whether that is simply not doing voting today, but deciding next year we want to do voting, instead of having to take hardware out and replace it, we can apply one-time purchase licenses to the system. Same thing whenever we're talking about that hypothetical of the chairperson has a multimedia terminal and everybody else has a flex audio only device. Well, if you decided that everyone wanted a multimedia terminal, well, the multimedia terminals are the only thing that needs to be added in. Everything else, all the other hardware and backbone would work the same.
And Marcus, that is a good 2-for-1 answer. One of the other questions was, what are the most common mistakes you see in municipalities when designing or renovating a council chamber? And it's not future proofing. It's going with the solution here and now and not thinking about year 5. So that's what Televic is going to help with. We're going to ask, what is the end goal in 3 to 5 years or 10 years if we want to look that far ahead? And we will design a solution that not only fits the here and now, but expands as your meeting adapts.
Marcus, in those questions, there's one about hybrid meetings. Did you see that one?
Oh, maybe. Let me see. The challenges faced with hybrid meetings. So yes, the biggest challenge I would say that people face with hybrid meetings is audio quality. Being able to hear people both from the remote side as well as the local side. If you can't hear each other, you can hardly have a meeting. And that's where Televic really shines, is having that local speaker, high quality microphone, and being able to hear and talk back and forth seamlessly so that people that are remote can feel like they are actually a part of the meeting. Now for common mistakes that we see municipalities make when designing or renovating a council chamber. I would say one of the mistakes we already talked about was not future proofing, but also one of the other common mistakes is not talking with the city clerk in the design phase. And what we've learned is the city clerks, they are the people that have they touch the technology on the daily basis. They actually see the inner workings of the technology. And so it is one of our recommendations in the design phase when we get to that point where we're presenting the technology is to make sure that the clerk is there so that they can see the workflow themselves and have their opinions and help us design the system around what is needed on that side.
Oh, wait, I just want to say, you see the question from Suki there?
That is exactly where I was going with.
Okay.
Courtrooms for hands-free, is Plexus AER a good solution for courtroom solutions? For recording, can the Plexus record to PC through the court's proprietary software, Liberty Recording Software? Does Televic have integration with court recording software companies? So the AER absolutely can. Typically with a Plexus AER, that is our flex microphone with the 5-inch touchscreen. With designs like that, we are interfacing with a DSP because to get the granular audio out, we would go through Dante. I would say more commonly in the majority of courtrooms, we're using the Discerno, which is the Discerno AE, that essential line. And what Discerno has as an advantage in courtrooms is, number one, a lower price point. And that lower price point is that it has an 8x8 AES67 and an 8x8 USB. And in comparison to the Plexus AER has a 64x64 Dante, more channels than most courts typically need. So with the Discerno, we can take that USB directly into a PC for that Liberty or that Be in Court type of recording software. Absolutely. We essentially assign microphones to individualized channels, and then they go through the USB accordingly. Then you have that second USB to connect to a Zoom or a Teams platform for the audio back and forth during the courtroom if there is any hybrid elements to the court.
I think we've got 2 more questions. If you have any more questions, get them in now in the chat or the Q&A. Also, I forgot to mention, Suki, happy Canadian Day, Canada Day. I notice you're from Ontario. That's great. All right, the next one's from Alexander. You see that one there?
Is there a virtual interface for council members that are remotely connected to a meeting? So, no, there is no virtual interface for Televic to connect directly, or for virtual participants to connect directly to the Televic system. There are ways that we have interfaced the Televic system and worked with hybrid voting. If you have that use case, let's set up a call, because that's something that we can really dig down into the details of to find a solution that works. If our council meetings are live streamed, is there a way to display the voting layout to the stream? Absolutely. So that is where we can, that digital signage or that signage display that I was showing. One of the options that you can have is a layout of the room and have the votes populate in real time as they're being cast. Like I had said, with, we provide a lot of options, and then we can, streamline it down to exactly how you want the system to interact. Voting and displaying those voting results is one of those options. So we can make votes public to where they're displayed in real time as votes are cast. We can also have it hidden to where you can see that someone has voted, but you don't know which way, and they're only revealed after the voting is concluded. Or you can have it completely hidden where nobody knows which way anyone voted, not even the operator, and all you get is the end result pass-fail. All of that is recorded to the Televic system, the Televic software, into a database, and that the statistics of the meeting, the voting results, who voted which way, can all be exported out of the Televic system, either immediately following a vote or as soon as the meeting is finished.
I think we got one more there.
How far does the person's lip have to be to ensure a pickup on the person's voice properly? Sometimes person is about to speak and they don't always use they aren't always close to a mic or are a bit far away. That is such a common question. And if you work in AV, if you do any operating of microphones, you'll know that even if the people that sit in front of microphones do so every day, weeks on end, you're always going to struggle against microphone etiquette. So the microphones, the majority of our offerings are gooseneck microphones. They are a cardioid pattern pickup pattern. And so the closer the microphone is to the audio source, the better quality you're going to get. It's kind of basic physics on the microphones. But we've had, I mean, just when Justin was doing that walk around the Discerno table, he was a foot, 16 inches away from a microphone. They are able to pick up from a certain distance. We've had microphones of, about that far from different city councils with good pickup and good audio quality. For designs, we offer a variety of gooseneck lengths, so we can look at how far away what is the depth of this dais? Is a 16-inch microphone good? Do we need to go up to a 20-inch microphone? Do we need to go all the way up to a 24-inch microphone, which is comically long whenever you connect it to a microphone base, but some people like to stand when they speak. These are all options that come out through the design. Additionally, we also have a low-profile microphone that is designed for, we don't want a gooseneck. We want to do a kind of a toroid horizontal pickup pattern that we commonly see when two people are sharing one microphone. It also allows for a little more laxed microphone technique and people sitting back because it has a much wider pickup pattern. These are all, discussions we would have when designing a specific system.
Oh, I
So
think
it looks like we
all.
had two more questions come in.
yeah.
So Daniel had asked, can you speak to modular rooms? I see that we have a wireless device. Can you explain any pros, cons, and limitations when using Televic as a wireless solution?
Oh, absolutely. So modular rooms, that is where our wireless devices shine. Our wireless device is not extremely relevant to the webinar at hand, but we put them in spaces that are divide combine, where one room becomes two and you're using the same devices in either space. The pros of using your wireless microphone in a modular space is, hey, you can put a microphone anywhere. You can have them move around the space. The wireless access point has a very large pickup pattern, and we can have up to 125 devices on one wireless access point. And then we can couple multiple access points if we need to go beyond that. Not that anyone has a 300-seat council chamber, but the technological limit is there. When it comes to the cons of it, it's all logistics. You add in batteries to a device. Those batteries need to be charged, and it's going to become somebody's responsibility to charge those devices. So one benefit that our wireless devices have is that you have two battery slots, so you can hot swap those batteries. If someone forgets to charge batteries, well, we can notice it, pull one off the charger, slot it in, take the old one out, and put it back on the charger. Or we also have a USB-C port on the back of the microphone that won't charge the battery, but it will make the microphone operational while you take the battery and put it on charge. So you're not left dead in the water. You have options to make that work. Some other things to consider is using automated cameras with wireless microphones. The cameras will think that a microphone is in a position. So there might be some due diligence on, if you have a dais, making sure that the seat IDs are in the right position for the camera presets. And did you say there was one other question?
Yes. Can a timer be presented in the signage setup?
Yes, it can. So that is something that we can choose to display and have the person speaking have their name and a timer associated with them. And we can also put a timer on the microphone screen itself. So imagine a lot of scenarios that we design around the the council members, they don't need speaking timers. They can speak for as long as they want, but the public can only have 3 minutes and only 3 minutes. So we can assign a specific timer for just the podium, just the public interface that is only active for them. And whenever that microphone is activated, that timer appears directly on the device, counts down, and whenever you get within a set time, a warning time, 30 seconds before your time is up, the lights will start flashing, and then you can choose, are we going to allow them to go into negative numbers and speak for as long as they want, or are we going to cut their microphone off right when that timer hits 0?
I think we've come to the end here. Thank you, everybody, for all the great questions. Great job, Televic. Everybody, stay tuned for more webinars from Ford, and really appreciate everybody's participation. Be safe out there, and we'll see you real soon. Take care.